So this is the new page 3. So the page 3 that's in your packet, take it out, and I gave you a new one. Okay, so here's the parent function. So the child automatically has to be g of x cubed. So horizontal translation, 6 units left, really means right. Reflection over the y really means with the x. And a horizontal compression by a factor of 1/4 really means that that 1/4 is a 4. Okay, but this one's a little bit more difficult, so there's nothing really blue, so let's focus on this, negative 4x plus 6. Okay, the problem is if we're actually going to go left, we're now affected by that horizontal translation. Okay, and we're also, I'm sorry, by the horizontal compression, and we're also reflected or affected by the reflection. So what that really means is negative 4 parentheses x minus 6. Okay? Because, oh wait, I messed up. Okay, you want to know what the new function is, so I'll start with g of x. I see the parent is to the cube, is to the 3rd power. Okay? So, horizontal translation, 6 units left. Left really means right, so plus 6. Reflecting over the y really means it's with the x. And a horizontal compression by a factor of 1/4, but it's the inverse, so that's 4. Oh, I messed up. Reflection over the y really means it's with the x. So let me make that a little bit bigger. Okay. But then it says there's a horizontal compression by a factor of 4. Well, I've got a lot going on here. It can't just write the 6 as it is because the 4 and the negative are now affecting it. So it's really negative 4 parentheses x plus 6. I can't leave it like that, so I need to write the function. I should have made more space. G of x equals parentheses negative 4x minus 24 cubed. Okay, so let me say what happened again. The negative reflection over the y is really with the x. The factor of 1/4 is really 4. The left 6 is really right 6, but when I distribute it, this is my final answer. Okay? All right. Parent function f of x, g of x is my child. All right. Vertical stretch by a factor of 3. I'll do this in pencil just in case. Horizontal translation, 4 units left. Left really means right. Reflection over the x really means it's with the y. And vertical translation, 5 units up plus 5. Now, if I want to write it better, which I would like, this negative 3 gets multiplied by the 1. So the actual equation or function is that. Now here's the great thing. What you can do is you can graph this in Desmos, or for your test, graph it on the graphing calculator, and see if it actually went left from the original, reflected over y from the original, and horizontally compressed. So compressed this way by a 4th, which means it'll look skinnier, okay? But then be reflecting over the y. I can check here that there's a vertical stretch, which means makes it taller by 3. It goes to the left. It reflects over the x, which means it flips, and then it goes 5 up. That's how you can make sure. All right. This time I want you to graph the function based on this, and then give me the new function. Since it's parabolic, that means x squared. And I can call it f of x, g of x, whatever. So I'll say f of x, okay? So reflecting over the x really means it's with the y. Vertical translation, 4 units down, straight shooter. Horizontal stretch by a factor of 7, horizontal, inverse, 1/7. And then make sure you put a squared. So I'm literally going to follow the directions knowing I'm going to do a reflection last. So here I am. I go 4 units down. I horizontally stretch and I flip. Okay? So when I flip over the x-axis, we can see that it went to positive 4 because this negative right here affects everything. So that's a plus. So plus 4. Okay? Reflecting over the x. So that means instead of it going up, it's now going down. And then if it horizontally stretches, it's going to look fatter. Oops. I've got to start using pencil. Okay? So that's not there. If I had white out, I'd help out with that. Okay? Any function. Well, I like the parabolic function, so I'm going to keep it that. Vertical, this is a typo, translation, 3 units right. Well, that doesn't even make sense, does it? Okay, so let's make it a vertical translation 3 units up. So that would be plus 3. And then a horizontal compression by a factor of 1/2, which really means 2. So that's 2x. Okay, just going to follow the directions. I start here. I go up 3, 1, 2, 3. And if I'm horizontally compressing, that means I'm squishing it, so it's going to look skinnier. Now, you didn't have to do a parabolic function. You could have done a linear function. You could have done an absolute value function. But I do feel like that one's the easiest for me. Okay? All right, let's go to the next one. Describe the transformations. All right, here we go. This one is on the outside. Vertical translation, 1 unit up. You know you have to write it out. Boom. Vertical stretch, because 5/4 is greater than 1, by a factor of 5/4. Now the inside I need to address over here, because that's really negative of x plus 3, which means this implies a reflection over. It's with the x, so it really means it's with the y. And if we have this plus 3, it's really in our minds minus 3, which means horizontal translation, 3 units left. Okay? Next one. I see here there's a negative reflection over. It's with the y, so that means it's with the x. And then I have to rewrite this over here as 2 parentheses x minus 4. And all of that is horizontal, so that's pink, and that's pink. I'm going to deal with this 2 first. It's not as it is, it's the inverse. So it's a horizontal compression by a factor of 1/2. And this isn't as it is, so it's really plus 4. A horizontal translation, 4 units.